welcome to Live, Joy, Travel. I'm Jess, and today I bring you yet another beautiful Italian city. We find ourselves in the city that gave birth to the Renaissance. I welcome you to Florence. We start our journey today right here, right at the heart of the historic center of Florence. Piazza del Duomo is one of the most visited places not only in Europe but in the world, seeing about 10 million visitors or tourists every year. Can you tell this place is crowded and it's popping in Florence? It's waiting for us. But before we do that, I do want to tell you a little bit about the monuments that you are going to find here in the most famous plaza of all of Florence. This structure right here has defined the Florentine skyline for centuries. It was finished around the year 1400. That's how old this thing is. And it stands at 115 meters high. Amazing. You are able to go in, but make sure that you plan ahead of time and that you buy your tickets online, because even during off-season the lines tend to be pretty long. So let's move along and I can show you yet another place that you are able to see from the inside in this very plaza. Right here at Piazza del Duomo, you can also visit the Battistero. As you can tell, the lines are super long, so I do recommend that you get your tickets online to make the experience just a little smoother. But from here, we are going to move and we're going to show you another side of Florence. So guys, as we are walking and getting a good feel of the Piazza del Duomo, we're also going to come across the Museo dell'Opera del Duomo. They are strongly dedicated to the conservation of the Duomo, and inside of there they are holding some of the greatest works of art by either Michelangelo, Donatello. The list goes on and on. So this is definitely a museum you do not want to miss and you want to put on your list. Let's continue with the walk. We are now going to move a little bit away from Piazza del Duomo and we are going to show you another very, very important landmark, especially if you've seen a very popular Netflix show. So I will tell you about it when we're right in front of it, so stay tuned. And guys, we have finally made it to the next destination here in Florence. It's about a 3 to 5 minute walk from the Duomo, and this building actually you may be familiar with because Netflix took a couple of shots of it in the TV show The Medici. So who were they? Well, they were actually one of the most important families here in Florence during the Renaissance, and they were the biggest supporters of it. So the building right behind me was actually the very first Renaissance building that was erected around the 1400s. So that's pretty amazing in and of itself. But if you're thinking, whoa, the TV show tells me that these people were incredibly rich, why doesn't this building represent it? Well guys, back in the day there was actually a law that prevented the Medici, along with many other rich people, from showing their wealth in an obscene way. So they had to find ways of going around it, and that is why their palace looks the way it does. The true riches lie within its doors, and I can't wait to see it. But that is essentially anything that you have to know about this building. And if you're wondering, did Lorenzo the Magnificent live here? Yes, he absolutely did, and so did Cosimo. Interesting. So guys, we're gonna walk away from the Palazzo de Medici, and that is a very, very important place culturally, considering how important the Medici were. But if you are here, you will probably bump into celebrities, politicians, and anybody of the sort, because this palace is very, very important and also very, very popular. But let's move on to the next spot because I have so much more to tell you. So guys, we have finally made it to our next point, only a little bit of a walk from the Palace of the Medici, and we find ourselves here at Basilica de San Lorenzo. And this place right here is actually very important. As you guys know, I talked about the Medici. The Medici were a very important banking family located here in Florence, and they helped Florence become the powerhouse that it still is culturally, even now in present day. And this place behind me is their burial grounds. They actually had an entire basilica as their burial place. They ruled Florence for about 4 centuries, guys. 4 centuries. They rubbed shoulders with Michelangelo, Donatelli, and Da Vinci. These were very, very powerful people, and now we get to enjoy the fruits of their labor. So guys, if you are a Renaissance enthusiast like me, and a museum lover, or if you just simply appreciate everything that is cultural, I have to tell you, Florence is the place to be, and you have to give a huge shout out to the Medici because they are the ones that contributed the most so we could walk the streets. So much more to see, guys, and I can hardly hold my excitement. So come with me because it's only gonna get better from here. We are gonna walk away from the Basilica, and when in Florence, the thing to do is to walk through the leather markets, and you're gonna find so many of them. There's one specifically right next to the Basilica, and we're gonna make a walkthrough. So let's go. Short walk from that leather market, and not a very well-known fact, so you can actually find the Central Historic Market here in Florence, and it is a great hub for you to eat. So if you walk straight from the Basilica through the leather market and make a quick look to your right, you will find it. So let's go and let's get some grub.
There you go, yeah, follow me.
You can already smell it, guys. If I could just have you guys smell it. Have finally made a decision, and as usual we are suckers for
pasta.
So we are stopping at a place that has huge bowls of pasta, and that is what we're gonna have for lunch. But there's so many options, from paninis to vegetarian options to anything you can think of at the market. This is just where our heart's calling us to.
Yeah. My stomach is calling pasta.
For the 6th straight day.
Yes. Have you decided what you're gonna get?
I think I am gonna go for the ravioli al limone or a lemon sauce with my ravioli because it just sounds so good. So we'll see, because I tend to change my mind at the very minute. So what about you?
I am gonna do the second choice you would have done, so if you don't like your first choice, you can have mine.
Thank you. E anche un ravioli sticky carciofi anche con olio e parmigiano, per favore. So we've ordered our food, guys, and ordering is relatively easy. You just pick which one you want and with what sauce, and they give it to you, and then they assign you a little number, and then you pick it up. And to get your drinks, I mean, it's free for all. You can pick any other place to purchase your drinks. So yeah, let's try this place out.
Here comes our food.
Pasta has been secured.
And the white wine.
And the white wine at the market. It smells delicious.
Good? Tastes like heaven.
So guys, now that we are done eating at La Primeria, we are going to go find some dessert, but just a couple quick tips. We paid about €6 per plate, and if you go right around the corner, you're able to get a wine glass for about €2. So making your whole meal €8 for one person for lunch. I say that's a pretty good deal considering the quality pasta that we got. Yes, there are cheaper places to eat, but in Florence you pay Florence prices. So let's keep moving and let's find some dessert. So guys, we're gonna go get dessert, but we do have to use the restroom first. And here's the pro tip: when you find yourself in Italy, public bathrooms are gonna be about €1. For that same price, you can also get a coffee and an uplift for the day. So find a cafe, get a coffee, and keep moving. And now you've gotten some coffee on the way. So guys, on our way to find dessert, we had to make a pit stop close to the train station to see Santa Maria Novella, one of the most popular landmarks here because of the Strozzi Chapel, which is actually based on Dante's La Divina Commedia, or the Divine Comedy, you guys. And inside you're gonna find frescoes ranging from the Judgment Day to heaven and hell. So it's definitely an entry that is worth the €7 that it costs per person to get in, and a must to add on your list when visiting Florence. So guys, we are going to walk away from this and we're actually gonna head straight into Piazza della Signoria, which is another huge landmark here in Florence. There's so much to see in between, but this is definitely one of the biggest ones that you need to put on your itinerary, and that is where we're gonna head, and we're gonna show you the streets as we walk and maybe give you a couple of fun facts, because Florence, it's full of those. We are walking down the streets. They're actually not that narrow.
No, not like Venice.
No, not like Venice, not at all. But one cool thing that I think you guys should know, and a fun fact, is that these streets that we're walking were actually the first paved streets in all of Europe in the year 1339.
That is amazing.
Yeah, I know. You wouldn't think so, but Florence was actually the powerhouse of it all. It started it all.
The Renaissance period. It started here, right?
Yep, absolutely. It is crazy. And not only that, but most of you guys probably don't know, and these are all just fun facts, is that the piano was actually invented also here in Florence by Bartolomeo. Oh, I can't remember his last name, but I'll put it down below. Another fun fact is that most people think that Milano is actually the fashion capital, which, trust me, it totally is, but Florence doesn't lag too far behind, because the brand Gucci was actually started here in Florence in 1927 by Guccio, or one of those two names. Guys, as we continue to walk along, we also come across Firenze Palazzo Strozzi, and you're gonna find museums galore here in Florence. And let me tell you, it is true, about a third of the world's art riches are held here in Florence, and that stands true every time you look at a museum here. This is the Donatello and the Renaissance. So guys, we are leaving the Strozzi Palace area and we're gonna head towards Piazza della Republica as we are on our way to one of the most famous plazas, which is Piazza della Signoria. But this walk right here is particularly important because this is where you're going to find all the luxury stores in this street, and it's Via degli Strozzi. I may be mispronouncing it, but that is where you're gonna find stores from Cartier to Louis Vuitton to Dior to anything your little heart desires. So guys, we have finally made it to Piazza della Republica, and here you can tell there are restaurants all around us, arches with stores. This is a great meeting point. You have a merry-go-round in front of you, and this is also a great spot for you to be on your way to Piazza della Signoria, but don't forget to stop here and admire the surrounding area. I wish we could stop and sit at one of these tables and have a spritz, but we have to keep moving because we have to keep showing you all that there is to see here, and the best is yet to come. So let's keep moving. So guys, we're going to continue to move on our way on the search for Piazza della Signoria. But first, I thought that we will give you guys a look through the arches and give you some more fun facts, because this city has fun facts galore and we're not gonna get through them in this whole video. Not at all. So guys, in the 16th century, opera was actually created here in Florence. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, the more you know, huh? Yeah. And guys, Julius Caesar, actually one of their legions, came here and named the village as what we now know as Florence. What about you, Adrian? Do you have any fun facts?
I think Donatello was born here.
Close. Da Vinci was born here.
Da Vinci was that started with the D.
Yeah, Da Vinci was born in the region of Florence, so he is actually correct.
But Florence is the capital of Tuscany.
You do have that right. Actually, great job. You actually
Point for Adrian. Finally.
1 point for Adrian. So guys, we continue to walk and we're getting a little closer, but we are in Florence, which is the leather capital of the world. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, because this is it. And we have one more fun fact for you guys before we get there, and that is that the Duomo, we showed you guys Piazza del Duomo with the big church, that actually took over 140 years to build and finish. So that's it's pretty impressive.
I do remember that from the Netflix series, the Medici.
Oh,
that they went through, but I don't know if it was true or not. You know.
It is in fact true. Obviously, Netflix has done a great job of adding a little bit of drama to the real story, but you are gonna find a lot of facts that are actually true. And we are actually coming close to one of the famous leather markets. And sorry about that. And we're gonna go check it out. So let's make a quick pit stop. Wow, look at that purse. It's beautiful.
Look
at this one.
So I remember when we bought our stuff here.
Yes, we actually have a luggage set from here, which we are not carrying because we are using our backpacks. And one of the toughest things about backpacking through places and knowing you're not gonna back home for about a year is that you can't buy much, and it just
breaks your heart.
Alive. But we can window shop. Now, believe it or not, guys, the market, it's actually not the greatest place to buy the leather goods, but rather the leather stores surrounding the market. You will find lower prices there. Shocking, I know. I have one like that. Now, these ones are gorgeous. Look at this.
A little glimpse of the camera crew here. This is what life is all about for the camera crew.
It truly is. Guys, we have made it to Piazza della Signoria. Wow, just to be here knowing that we are in the same spot that names like Michelangelo, Dante, Petrarca, Botticelli, the list goes on. We are standing in the same plaza where the Renaissance was born. These people were standing here where we are. How amazing is that? In this piazza right here is full of history, full of culture, and full of stories just by looking at some of the statues that are behind us. Look at those arches. Let's go one by one and learn about them. We start the tour of this beautiful piazza, and we're gonna start it right here at the equestrian monument of Cosimo de' Medici. This equestrian bronze statue has actually been in this very plaza since 1594, and it was designed by no other than Gian Bologna, and it has been attracting crowds ever since. Only a few steps away from the sculpture that we just saw, you're gonna come over here to the Fountain of Neptune, and this actually was commissioned by Cosimo de' Medici to celebrate the marriage of Joanna of Austria to Francesco Medici. It's beautiful to look at, however, over the years it's sustained a great deal of damage, and in 2019 it was actually restored to its former glory, and we get to admire it now. Guys, moving on from the fountain, you are gonna come to Palazzo Vecchio, or the Old Palace, and this is actually one of the main things you're gonna see as soon as you walk into this piazza. The thing about this building is that now serves as a government building, and it has served as a governmental building for centuries. The Medici also lived here as they moved along in their political careers and left the old palace behind. This became their residence. Mind-blowing. Guys, at the entrance of Palazzo Vecchio and only a stone's throw away from the fountain, you're gonna see the replica of Michelangelo. You are gonna be able to see the original at the Galleria dell'Accademia, not too far from here. But if you're time crunched, then you can at least look at this one. From the replica of Michelangelo, we are gonna have Bandnelli's Hercules in the Cacus right behind me. That was actually commissioned as a pendant to the statue of Michelangelo, the real one that is, to commemorate the defeat over the Medici. So they were actually defeated at one point before they came back to power, and that was to commemorate this. And moving on to our next spot in this very plaza, we are gonna have Loggia di Lanzi. Now, essentially this is an open-air museum that holds Renaissance pieces, starting with the famous purses with the head of Medusa, a very popular one. And right next to it, we are going to be able to admire the Medici lions. Now, one cool thing about this is that the lions were at one point part of Florence, and they sat in a den right in front of the Duomo, representing the power that the city had across Europe and the world. And as such, the Medici family decided to make it their symbol, and they became known as the Medici lions. Michelangelo, Donatello, Dante, they all had a very close relationship with the Medici. In this case, Michelangelo believed so strongly in these arches and believed that they had made such a contribution to the city that he actually wanted the Medici to establish these arches around the entire Piazza della Signoria. Unfortunately, it did not come to fruition, but we can still look at this side of it. And guys, we continue to move on. Next, we're gonna go towards Ponte Vecchio, but before you get there, you are going to go through this gallery, the Uffizi Gallery. So let me show you guys. So guys, we are getting closer to Florence's symbol of everlasting beauty. The bridge is right over there, but before we get there, I wanted to admire the water and walk through the corridor, which we're about to see. So come along, let's go check it out. This was actually commissioned by the Medici family to connect the Uffizi Gallery to the Pitti Palace, so they wouldn't have to leave the grounds. It had a bridge connecting both. We are finally walking through Florence's everlasting symbol, Ponte Vecchio. There's so much history, starting with the shops. The shops were actually established in the 13th century, guys. That's when the shops started to set up shop here. Now, it came to it that at one point they decided to only make the shops here be jewelry stores or shops for those who made jewelry, in order to make it a little bit more upscale and a little safer for those who walked here, especially the Medici, who used this to get to the Pitti Palace. Now, another thing I do want to tell you guys, and this is on a totally different note and a very romantic one. If you find yourself here at night, it makes for one of the most romantic walks that you will take, because the shutters on the shops actually end up looking like suitcases and chests at night, and with the view of the moon reflecting on the water over the bridge is the place to be. We are now leaving the bridge, and our next mission is going to go to the Pitti Palace.
Yeah.
And hopefully, maybe hopefully, find some gelato along the way. What do you think?
So I can look at it.
Yeah. Live through me.
I live
You're welcome.
through her all the time.
Let's go, guys. Let's find it. So guys, a quick short walk later after the bridge, we have finally managed to make it to the Pitti Palace. And this palace was actually commissioned by Luca Pitti. And as you can tell, it's much bigger than the Medici Palace. And if you guessed it, yes, they were rivals, and the Pitti wanted their palace to outdo the one from the Medici. But as life would have it, they ran out of funds, and guess who ended up buying this palace? The Medici themselves, and it became theirs. If you actually pay to go inside, you're actually going to get to see the Boboli Gardens in the Galleria, which holds some of the most important works of art from Raphael to Donatello to Michelangelo. Totally worth it. As I told you earlier, Florence holds about a third of the richest paintings and works of art in the world, and you can see them face to face when you come, and this palace is no different. As you guys can tell, this is a meeting and resting point for the Florentine people here in Florence, and just like they are doing, we are actually going to sit down, enjoy the view, and close out this video. Thank you so very much for coming all the way along with us on this tour of Florence. There's so much more coming up on Italy, so stay tuned. And until then, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and don't forget to click that bell. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Until next time, bye.